Well, part 3 of fucking 5 rolling. Alright, let's go. Everyone passes the test except Palmer, whose blood recoils from the heat. Exposed, Palmer thing transforms, break free of its bonds, and infects Windows, forcing MacReady to incinerate them both. So before, they knew, obviously, in the moment that Palmer was the thing, the Palmer thing. They tried to kill him, or they didn't even have time to kill him. He already infected someone else. Childs is left on guard while the others go to test Blair, but they find that he has escaped and has been using vehicle components to assemble a small flying saucer. On their return, Childs is missing and the power generator is destroyed, leaving the men without heat, so they're slowly going to freeze to death. MacReady speculates that with no escape left, the thing intends to return to hibernation until a rescue team arrives. MacReady, Gary, and Niles agree that the thing cannot be allowed to escape and set explosives to destroy the station, but Blair Thing kills Gary and Niles disappears. Blair Thing transforms into an enormous creature and breaks the detonator, but MacReady triggers the explosives with a stick of dynamite, destroying the station himself before the thing could. Childs returns as MacReady sits by the burning remnants, saying he became lost in the storm while pursuing Blair. Exhausted and slowly freezing to death, they acknowledge the futility of their distrust and share a bottle of Scotch whiskey. It's fucking sad, dude. This movie is really sad. It is really well shot, though. My God. It's failure. This is like the hardest failure I've ever seen in film. John Carpenter, the movie failed in box office. Negative reviews on its release, by the way. Hostility for its cynical, anti-authoritarian tone and graphic special effects. Is this the most hated movie of all time? A lot of people were asking. Some reviewers were dismissive. Quintessential moron movie of the 80s. Instant junk. Wretched excess. Cold and sterile horror movies. Tempting to cash in on the genre audience. Optimism of E.T., the reassuring return of Star Trek II, the technical perfection of Tron, and the sheer integrity of Blade Runner. The plot was criticized as boring, undermined by special effects. It was bereft, despairing, nihilistic, lacking in feeling. The characters' deaths did not matter. I don't know, man. I think it's really good. I think it aged really fucking well. And these people can eat shit because it is probably one of the best horror movies I've seen. The cinematography was fucking phenomenal, dude. For the 80s, it was so ahead of its time. I liked this movie a lot. People thought it had sloppy continuity, lacked pacing, devoid of warmth or humanity, not really much feeling in it, but I disagree. There is some, felt the film confused the use of effects with creating suspense. It lacked drama by sacrificing everything at the altar of gore. So a lot of people are saying it's like it's gore porn, pretty much. People said like they only wanted gore, and I guess the dialogue is banal, interchangeable. The characters seem and sound alike. That's just dumb. That sounds dumb looking back at it. It was a witty touch to open the thing. Having already overcome the Norwegian base, defeating the type of trap seen in the 1951 version. The thing's threat is shown only externally without focusing on what it is like for someone who thinks they've been taken over. I can agree with that. It would have been cool if we got some more insight. So if we went through the first person perspective of getting taken over by the thing, that would have been really cool. That is a good point. But the film is scary. People think it offers nothing original beyond the special effects. It is an original concept. I don't think I've seen any other movie execute this as well as John Carpenter did. It was entertaining only if the viewer needed to see spider-legged heads and dog autopsies. I thought that was a cool aesthetic to the film. I was still, it was interesting. I would definitely watch it again if I could. I bought it off Amazon Prime, so I guess I can. The actors' performances were good. A lot of people thought they were good. The depictions of the characters they portrayed were just not the best to everyone, but I disagree. I think it's a good movie. I agree with Cody Leach. I think it's fucking awesome. Lacking characterization, basic stereotypes that existed just to be killed, too many extra characters. Most characters were seen as the extras in the film, I guess is what people are trying to get at. The actors did their best with the material, they said. Yeah, the actors were good. I think there was good material. Like Russell's the stalwart hero. That's what it was set up to be. Other characters were not as strongly or wittily characterized. Of course they weren't, because Kurt Russell was the main character. That is normal, okay? Like, Russell's heroic status was undercut by the suicidal attitude adopted towards the film's finale. That's the point. That's a feeling that a lot of people would have if they were put in this situation. I don't know. Attitude, implausibilities, characters wandering off alone was an implausibility. I mean, it's a common horror trope. People did not like that the men did not band together against the thing. They wanted, like, what, you're criticizing how the film ended. Like, you can criticize the dialogue, you can criticize, like, the execution of plot, but you're not going to criticize the fucking plot. The director made the plot. You're not going to change that. That's what I don't understand here. Is you're criticizing something that the director has control of, or like complete control of, and he's not going to change for anybody. Like, come on. A lack of camaraderie and romance. I mean, unless anyone was gay there was not going to be romance there. Reduced any interest beyond the special effects. Not true. Just not true. Special effects were simultaneously lauded and lambasted for being technically brilliant, but visually repulsive and excessive. I mean, yeah, the special effects were fucking genius. The designs were novel, unforgettable, colorfully horrific, master of the macabre. The chest chomp scene demonstrated appalling creativity. Subsequent severed head scene was madly macabre. Kind of like the Alien movie. It is an Alien movie, so that is a good comparison. I'm just reading reviews. Most vividly gruesome horror film to ever stalk the screens. Is that a good thing? Did they say it? More disgusting than frightening. I mean, not all horror movies have to be scary, though. There is a disturbing factor. There is a shock factor in a lot of scary movies. So I don't really understand that either. Trend of horror films to open the human body more and more bordered on obscenity. I don't know. Botton's care and pride in his craft were shown in the effects. Yes, found them to be overwhelming. How are you overwhelmed by effects? It is the 80s. I can't really hate on them. Squandered. But yeah, you gotta have some time with this film. It's good that this film's been out for 40 years, or else people would still be shitting on it. Like, people say the effects were too phony looking. You just said that. Oh, okay. Very contradicting. Creature's lack of a single discernible shape. Well, that's the thing. It's a thing. It's not something you can characterize. That's the whole point. Like, it's supposed to be a blob of shit. That's like what the point is of the thing. That's, inside humans, hiding it inside humans made it hard to follow. Less versatile, but easier to keep focused. Do not say the 51 version was better. That's not even possible. Okay, there's a lot more to talk about. Praised the film's technical achievements, particularly Cundy's frostbitten cinematography, the sound, editing, and Morricone's score. People were critical of Carpenter's direction. I think it was good direction. John Carpenter's fantastic. It was a futile attempt to give the audience what he thinks they want, and that Carpenter was not meant to direct science fiction, but was instead suited to direct traffic accidents, train wrecks, and public floggings. That's just disrespectful. Atrocity for Atrocity's mistake was ill-becoming. My God, they're shitting on him. Alien, Invasion of the Body Snatchers, The Thing from Another World were compared. The Thing seems derivative compared to those films, which have portrayed the story in a better way. I mean, you could say Alien's better, but I disagree. Inferior, that's just terrible. The Thing, as a result of Alien, raising the requirement for horrific spectacle. I mean, I guess they tried too hard to overcome the Alien standards? I don't think so. The Thing from Another World, criticized the film, obviously, because the people from that movie criticized the film because they are competing with each other. They're in the same vein. If you want blood, go to the Slaughterhouse. All in all, it's a terrific commercial for J&B Scotch. It's a better movie than The Thing from Another World, I can tell you that right now. Singled out the visual effects. They were so explicit that they actually destroyed how you're supposed to feel about the characters. They became almost a movie in themselves and were a little too horrifying. That just sounds like fucking soft as shit. That's just not a good critique. A reviewer described the film as a surprising failure and called it Carpenter's most unsatisfying film to date. It is probably one of his best films to date, actually. The narrative seems little more than an excuse for the various set pieces of special effects, and Russell's hero is no more than a cipher. Wow. The introductory scenes for the characters omitted from the film made it hard for audience to connect with them. I can agree. I did kind of zone out at some points in this film. Not the whole film isn't fucking entertaining. It's not like the whole film is perfect. I'm not saying this film is perfect. There are some moments where I'm like, oh, just get to the good part already. There were definitely points there. That happens in a lot of movies. But the idea, the special effects, I just think it's a good movie. I don't know. People can disagree. I'm not saying this because Cody Leach thinks it's a good movie, by the way. I just got a recommendation. I watched it and I thought, wow, this is fucking art. This is fantastic for a 1982 movie. And no one's going to keep that in mind when they're reviewing this movie for the foreseeable future. But, I mean, they got nominations for a lot of things. But Poltergeist and E.T., okay. Worst musical score. How are you nominating people for having shit musical scores? That is the next